Hello and welcome. My name is Blaze Asayan. I help young men break bad habits, build confidence, and develop self-esteem. Today, I want to discuss the mental health crisis facing young men today and why there's not nearly enough attention directed toward it. Right, I see a lot of things out there directed toward young women, helping them with their mental health, but not a lot directed toward young men specifically, who face a whole different set of problems. Right, I'm 20 years old. I grew up in this generation, so I understand the unique problems that young men face today, and I think it's a crisis what is happening with young men acting out violently because they can't express themselves and that is the only way they know how after letting it build up for so long over time. The anxiety, the anger, it just fuels them over time and then they act out violently, which is why we've seen such an increase in violence among young men committing terrible acts and, of course, ending their own lives. There really is a mental health crisis in the United States and in Western countries as a whole. And I've been thinking a long time about what is at the root of this. This has been my passion, understanding the mind of a young man who's in their teens, early 20s, because that's the age range where I've seen young men lashing out the most. And I'm in that age category. So I've been thinking about why this is happening. Why is this happening? And what are we doing as a society to actually cause this to happen and make it worse? First thing, as a society, we've told young men that they are evil, they are the cause of a lot of bad things in the world, and that they should feel bad for who they are, for being men, being privileged in that way. We're breaking everyone down into different categories when we are all human beings as a whole, right? And the more you isolate people and the more you tell them that they are evil, that they are the cause of all evil and that they're privileged and to shut up around certain topics and to keep themselves quiet, they will lash out. It may not boil in them immediately, but after this happening repeatedly over time, over and over and over again, this will cause someone to snap. This is what is happening nowadays with young men. That's the first thing. You can't tell someone they're evil and expect them not to commit evil deeds down the line. I also think that as a society, we are pushing men to express themselves more, but we don't discuss the insecurities of young men the way we discuss those of women. Young men are incredibly insecure. When they're looking at someone who's achieving way more than them, who's a similar age, that is a gut-wrenching feeling. Trust me. For a young man who wants to do great things in his life, just like I wanted to, and still want to in my life, I look at other people who are similar in age to me, who have achieved massive things in life, and it makes me feel bad about myself. Now, I've gotten over this over time. I've been able to become more comfortable with the person who I am. It took a long time, years, but I finally got there. I feel like glimpses of that come out every once in a while, looking at someone and saying, man, how did he do that? But now it's more of a place of admiration because I admire people who are doing great things rather than jealousy. So young men are incredibly insecure. They don't like when people talk, above them, like they are talking about their wins, and young men get so uncomfortable. I've seen this on so many occasions, getting uncomfortable in conversations. And this is terrible for mental health. Constantly looking at what other people are doing rather than focusing on themselves and what they want to do with their life, right? You shouldn't want to be like anyone else because you're you and they're them. So that needs to be completely scrapped from the equation. The whole idea of looking up to someone is a great thing, but looking at someone and being jealous of them and being resentful that they're in this position and you start blaming your circumstances for why you're not there. Meanwhile, everyone has their own path in life. Like, I know someone who is just a couple of years older than me, who is way further down the path of business. And I keep asking myself, when I was in high school, at least, I kept asking myself, man, how is this kid so successful? He's only a couple of years older than me, and he's making more money than, most 30, 40, 50, 60-year-olds make. So I kept asking myself that question, and it made me feel bad about myself. And then I stopped being ignorant, and I said to myself, I wonder how long this guy's been doing this. But I looked back, and as of now, he's only 2 years older than me. He's been in business for 8 years. 8 years. And I'm in my first year of business. And I'm wondering why I am not in his position, right? So it's complete ignorance for the most part. Just not understanding that people have their own path in life, and some people are required by their circumstances to get out of the position that they're in. Luckily, I'm privileged enough, and in some ways, I don't think that my privilege has served me very well, the way that some people with no privilege have that drive. I had to create that drive in myself, and I unfortunately had to go through some pretty severe circumstances to have that drive that I do now. So yeah, the comparison game, that's a no-go. That'll ruin your mental health, and that needs to stop. And the third thing that I would say is that young men, although they've gone a long way in society of telling men to share their feelings, young men do not know how to communicate or share their feelings about anything. I know that when I was in high school and my parents asked me what was wrong, when I clearly was in a bad mood, I mean, it was pretty obvious, I wouldn't say anything. I'd just be like, nothing's wrong, in my defensive voice, and go close my door and lock myself in my room and smoke myself into oblivion, do nothing with my life, watch Netflix in bed. So young men today still don't know how to communicate. You can tell young men as much as you want, it's okay to communicate, share your feelings, whatever. You can create a good environment, but it's still hard. And I don't think that it's as easy for men as it is for women to communicate. That's pretty obvious, and share their feelings. But I think that there's still a long ways to go with pushing for that, being vulnerable and sharing how they feel, right? Not being soft and complaining all the time. That's soft. Complaining all the time. But getting your feelings out at one time, getting them out there and sharing that with someone, getting it off the table and letting it go and moving on. I believe in that. But I don't believe in complaining constantly about your circumstances. That's victim mentality, and that disgusts me. That's what I used to be, a big complainer. I don't like that. So yeah, I think all the reasons that I've discussed are a major contributor to why young men face a mental health crisis today. And it's why I am so dedicated to this mission that I'm on, because I don't see anyone really targeting young men specifically and trying to speak to parents in the way that I'm speaking to them, and them understanding what I know about being a young man in this generation. And there's so many unique problems that they face today. Access to pornography, smoking weed because it's legal everywhere now, vaping, taking drugs. That's been around for a long time, but, still persistent today. Drinking, all this stuff. There's a cause for it. And I believe that we as a society need to do a better job of this. This is really only a phenomenon in the Western world. So I want you to think today, what can I do to challenge the societal norm? Maybe everything that I'm being told is the best way to raise my son, or if you're a young man yourself, maybe everything they're telling me isn't actually true and isn't what's best for me. I'm constantly questioning the narrative, whatever narrative's put in front of me. Whenever I see groupthink and everyone's thinking the same way, I instantly think to myself, I wonder why everyone is pushing this opinion so hard on me. Something feels off about this. And then I go and investigate on my own, only to find that I don't agree with the majority opinion. That's completely fine. So I want to thank you for watching today's video, whether you're a parent or a young man yourself. I really want to serve people the best way I can. And that's why I began on this new journey as a coach for young men. I do want to do some individual coaching, but I really want to facilitate a group coaching program, create a brotherhood of young men who are winning and striving to become better in life. I know where I was, depressed, weed smoker, vaping, doing everything wrong, feeling horrible about myself, to becoming the man I am today. Proud of myself, confident. I broke all my bad habits, and I have great self-esteem. That's why I focus on those things. So yeah, you can click the link in my description if you want to learn more about me, disciplineinstitute.com. You'll click the link below and take a look, learn about me. You can see my story on there, why I do what I do and why I'm so passionate about it. So I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you enjoyed. Bye.